Sometimes the best way to win a war is to just stop fighting, and Xbox might have done just that. The console war isn't over, but Xbox isn't playing that game anymore. The Xbox handheld is real, and it changes the landscape of the console war in a completely unexpected way. They're releasing a handheld that won't compete with Nintendo. They've laid out the blueprint for a console that won't compete with PlayStation, and it may just overtake them both because of it. Let's break it down. In the Xbox showcase, they went with what we had actually talked about on a previous episode, where there was a leak of the Xbox handheld. You'll remember that we spoke about that, where it mentioned the follow-up of the ASUS ROG Ally. And it had all, and it turned out that was exactly what it was. The images were exactly what it was. The button placement, there's a new Xbox button. So that's what it is. They announced the fantastic name, flows right off the tongue, the ASUS ROG Xbox Ally X. Hope there's a better name for that we can shorten it to. But there it is. That is the device, and it is officially confirmed and actually could be a game changer. Not necessarily the device itself, which the device itself is great and something very interesting, but the ramifications of what this device lets us know. And this is another thing that we talked about on a previous episode, is Xbox's strategy moving forward. Of course, we know that they are killing it when it comes to services and software and that kind of thing. And we had mentioned these rumors that have been going for a while of Steam interoperability, where you were going to be able to supposedly play your Steam library on your Xbox devices, because people would get these insider beta versions of Xbox systems updates, and they would see a Steam logo or something like that. And the ROG Xbox Ally X has confirmed all of that and more. So you not only have your full Xbox library, it includes your Steam library, your Epic Games library, your GOG library. It has everything on this. And even crazier, because this is one thing that people are speculating. So Helldivers 2 was a console exclusive for PlayStation, but PlayStation made it available on Steam, so PC players could play it. And there had been speculation that if this integration were to happen with Xbox, that they would disallow play of Helldivers 2 on Xbox via the Steam compatibility. And people played Helldivers 2 on the Xbox ROG, and it worked. So this is a big deal. This is a big deal. So the way that Netflix won the video rental war with Blockbuster and Movie Gallery and all these places is that they didn't try to be a video rental. They stopped doing the video rental thing, and they tried something else that disrupted the market. And so instead of Xbox trying to fight the console war, they have essentially said, no, we're going to give you, not to pardon the pun, we're going to give you a window. We're going to give you a window where you can play everything. So they're basically superseding the console war. They're going to say, hey, we've got a thing where you can play everything. You want to play everything on the go? Here's a handheld that'll let you play everything on the go. You want to play everything in front of your TV? Here's a console that'll let you play everything in front of your TV. You want to play everything on your computer? Well, here's your way to play everything on the computer. So they're essentially not doing the console war. They're just giving you a service that you can access, whether it's handheld, console, PC, anything. 2 seconds, I promise. If you're enjoying this breakdown of Xbox's Galaxy Brain strategy, or you just like handhelds that aren't designed by sadists, hit that like button and subscribe for more. We've got more console drama, weird marketing takes, and conspiracy theories than a 2007 GameFAQs forum. And I do realize that that's older than many of you, so take my word for it. That's a lot.
Yeah, and I put up a comparison picture with the Steam Deck, because naturally I feel like this is what it's going to be compared to the most. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. And it's actually more powerful than the Steam Deck currently, which the Steam Deck's been around for a long time. Obviously, this is something that SkillUp was mentioning whenever just earlier today, he dropped his sort of initial impressions of his hands-on with the Xbox ROG Ally.
Yeah,
the Xbox ROG is even more ergonomic. He said it felt great.
Yeah, it's got the handles,
the grips, and the specs are even higher than the original Ally, which you would expect. And he said that essentially the original Steam Deck, while it is a great device, is several years old at this point. It's been around for a while, and they haven't updated the specs. And so there's a lot of games now that are coming out, and just, I mean, as it happens, especially in the PC market where things move so quickly, it's not able to do as much with these newer games. You got to like crank them down a bit to play them on the Steam Deck, whereas the ROG Ally is going to be the most powerful Steam Deck adjacent device on the market at the time. And given that it's going to play all of these things, it's going to be, and the usability of the original is going to be, or in compared to the original ROG, is going to be even better, because the original ROG just ran straight up Windows 11, and that was apparently incredibly unwieldy on a handheld, which I can imagine. And so the new one is going to be running a custom version of Windows where it's made for this. It's made to be on a handheld device, and it doesn't load everything all at once. It doesn't load the search bar until you need the search bar, and then it will come up. So it's freeing up a lot of memory and resources by not loading all these background things up that you're not even using. So I'm actually really impressed with not just the device, but the approach.
Yeah, and the only way, like with Steam Deck, that you can play Game Pass is through the cloud streaming of an Xbox game, or an Xbox or a PC game rather too. But I really like the look of this. I think it's sleek. I like that they went with full-size analog sticks instead of depressed analog sticks. The triggers on the video I watched at the showcase, the analog triggers look like they were full-on triggers. So I feel like they're going in the right direction for this. That, for me, the big deal is going to be, which oddly enough, I'm never a frame rate guy, but is going to be its ability to prioritize back-end systems that have to run. You know what I'm saying? So, and to see how far they can go into their respective libraries to access games that are going to be playable. One thing I think the Steam Deck does really well, and I think Steam does really well, is they don't pull any punches on telling you which games will work on Steam and which ones won't. When you go on there and it says this is a Steam Deck certified game, that means it can run at a decent amount of settings. And they also give suggested settings. But if something won't run, they'll flat out tell you, do not try to run this on Steam Deck. So I hope Microsoft does take that same approach when they launch this device.
I'm sure that they will, especially given that this is the second time out for ASUS, and now they're working together with this successful thing. So I'm sure that'll be a factor. And then, like I said, the larger implications of their overall strategy, that's the big thing to take away from this, is what kind of impact will that have on the console war? Like I thought last time, I was like, okay, there's not going to be, obviously there's always going to be a next Xbox, but I didn't think that there was going to be some big Xbox that they were going to really push forward and market. I thought it was just going to be sort of a means to an end. Hey, if you want your Xbox stuff on this here, you buy this thing and do that. Because I know there's been a rumor for a long time that they were going to do like a dongle or something like that for Xbox, where you just plugged it into your TV and that's it. And you're essentially doing cloud gaming. Like there's nothing downloaded or anything like that. It's just a means to do cloud gaming. I thought maybe they might even go full bore into that. But this does change the equation quite a bit. And the fact that it's not just integrated with Steam, but it's integrated with Epic and all these other things, which again, Epic has free games every month. Steam has insane sales. There will be games that the Steam version of the games will be sold cheaper than the console versions. If this runs everything really well, if these games can be optimized on whatever the next gen hardware is, this is going to be a really good deal. If the price of the console is there, and then with Sony moving some of their first party games and allowing them to be on Steam, if they still continue on with that, and this allows you to then play those games via their Steam versions on Xbox hardware, I mean, that's a bold move. That's a bold move.
I got to tell you, when you're talking about somebody that games on whatever system they game on, and they're considering something else or whatever, real quick, funny story. So I bought a Samsung TV a couple years ago, and it comes with Xbox as an app. And I was like, I let it set for literally a year. Never clicked on it. Finally decided to click on it. It was like, play your favorite Xbox games right here. And I was like, what is this? I still thought Xbox Live was a thing. Apparently it wasn't. And I'm like, what's this Game Pass stuff? And they're like, hey, get 1 free month of Ultimate Game Pass. I'm like, okay. Huge fan of aviation games. Downloaded the client for Microsoft Flight Simulator on my TV. And I'm playing Microsoft Flight Simulator on my TV. And that was the impetus that drove me to build a PC. So for all its faults, stream gaming or what Xbox is doing, they got me hook, line, and sinker, man. As soon as I was like, okay, I got to see what this looks like on a computer. And that's what led to that. So, and what led to becoming a Game Pass member. And then still having access to all the games I had when I was on the 360. So that was really cool. Yeah, I think that's the type of forward thinking, regardless of them raising their console price. I think that's the forward thinking that's going to drive gamers to those venues, to the handheld and to Game Pass.
Well, and that's the thing is like they're allowing you access to the library. So whenever if you buy the handheld, you don't have to worry about what games are there going to be. Like, okay, you buy the Nintendo Switch 2. Okay, what games are out? What games are coming out?
Right.
All this stuff. You know what's going to be there. It's going to be everything. It's going to be all the stuff you already know you have. It's going to be all the stuff that you already know what's going to come out. Whatever's coming out on Xbox, you're going to have access to it there. And it really is. It does change. Like, obviously, this generation they've lost. They've lost the console war as far as this generation goes. That's been a foregone conclusion for a long time. It was not going to happen. And then with them raising the price, if you're getting a current gen console, get a PlayStation 5. That's the best way to go.
Yeah.
But going forward, this is one thing that it's very bold. And previously, whenever they had done some things that were bold and actually forward thinking, they backtracked on them. Whenever the Xbox One came out back in the day, which was where they shot themselves in the foot, but some of the things they did were actually really forward focused and progressive. Things like focusing on, they still left the ability to have the physical games, but really making this push towards digital and having things there, and everybody resisted. But that's where we are. Like, now most games that are purchased are digital purchases. They were very forward thinking of these things. They backtracked on a lot of them, and hopefully this one is one where they're like, hey, the next gen hasn't even started yet, and we're already staking our flag. This is our approach, so that now whenever it releases, what are you going to have on day one? Well, do you have a Steam library? Because you're going to have access to all that.
Yeah.
It's really, like I said, it's bold. It could be a tide turner.
Yeah.
Especially if it's any sort of exclusive agreement with Steam or Epic or something like that, where PlayStation couldn't get the same treatment.
And I think if you have access to it and you can get access to it, it will change the landscape for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, very, very impressive outing from Xbox as far as that goes. Not just because the hardware itself looks great. So far, it's getting very positively reviewed. Of course, it's not out yet. It's just hands-on. People went to the event,
right,
and they got to have some hands-on time with it. But so far, very positively received. And yeah, the implications though are pretty momentous, and what it could mean for the console war going forward. So what do you think? Is Xbox dodging the console war, or are they on the brink of a bigger comeback than CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk 2077? Drop a comment and let us know what you think, and if you're actually going to buy this thing. And if you made it this far, thank you. Please sub if you haven't yet. And if you want the full story of why Xbox looked like it was down and out, that's going to be here in the top corner. And if you want to know more about the comeback that CD Projekt Red did with Cyberpunk 2077, it'll be here in the bottom corner. Thank you so much again. This means the world to me.